I'm going to show you something and you won't believe your eyes.
Number 1 to dagger. Number 1 to dagger.
Dagger, go ahead, 1.
You have visitors on your doorstep.
We're all ready for company.
Many people's brains are sleeping. We have to wake up.
Now?
No, it's too late now.
You're a very valuable man and a rare intelligence. I give you that up front.
What are you saying, Doctor?
Do I have to explain?
Look, it's madness to give him the wrong formula.
Madness, or perhaps the perfect solution?
Is it too late?
I'm afraid it is.
It has to be an outsider. And when I saw you standing at the door that day, with your haversack and the look of the wanderer about you, I had the wild feeling that it could be you.
Kill her. Kill her, then you can have the other one. The beautiful gold and blue and emerald one. Kill this one. Kill her.
You got no ears? You didn't hear that?
We heard. Now look.
I am. And I'm seeing something I never saw before. I don't mind it at all.
I gotta be dead drunk or crazy.
On my way here, I felt my friends were in danger.
And they were.
I saw a picture, a vision.
You saw the truth.
Then I must go.
Hello and welcome back to Bleep Bleep Bloop Bloop. This is the 4th episode. The first half, second half is a little bit longer this time. And as you can see, it concerns tape. Oh, there. So, okay. I'm holding a piece of 430 stainless steel, they call it a coupon. And I've covered it with, what's that stuff called? Parafilm. So it won't give off too much glare for the camera. And I'm showing you a very old and well-loved tape reel. Okay, here's a newer tape reel. All right, see that? Got a magnet. So the point is I'm putting magnets in these. All right, that's got magnets. That's so that there's a lot of steel shelving around here and a lot of metal around where I live and work. So I can stick things, that magnets, if I put a magnet in, I can stick it on a wall or stick it on a shelving unit or stick it on a panel of a machine or a duct or something like that. There's a lot of stainless, including stainless shelving, and the alloy of the stainless shelving, magnets don't adhere well. But for everything else, most other metal and some of the stainless like that 430, it sticks well. Anyway, okay. So I'm showing you, I'm going to put a magnet inside that reel. That reel has no magnet yet. Okay, it's a big old neodymium or rare earth magnet or whatever. And sorry, a lot of this is the camera work is not great. Okay, I'll just up front. So anyway, so I put away all the other tape reels, and you can okay now see there's some text on the screen. The text on the screen is me telling you what tools I'm using for fun. So this is a digital caliper. I always thought they were calipers, plural, because there's two of them, like pants, like pant legs, or scissors, plural. But I looked at this digital caliper. All right, it's the Mitutoyo. So I'm showing you, I'm measuring the outside of the tape reel. Tape dispenser, I guess is a reel. But it's got a little built-in cutting edge, that one. Okay, so I'm making some measurements on a pad. So the deal is, in the beginning of the video, when the intro audio is playing, I was showing you out of a bunch of tape reels like this, and they all have magnets, and they're all satisfactory to use. And also, you never can have too many tape reels. You always need tape. You can always use tape. You don't always need tape, but you can always use tape. So in this video and the other video, the other half of this episode, that's on the Patreon or it's some other way for supporters to support mechanism there, you'll see that I use tape in multiple ways, okay? In the beginning of this episode, this video you're watching right now, you're listening to my voice, the sound of my voice. In the beginning, you could see I was using pieces of tape and also sheets from like a cat hair roller or like a lint roller thing to clean up the benchtop area there. So it's gone now, but in the very beginning of this video, near the very beginning, there was another angle. It was in the lower left-hand screen where the list of tools is now. So the text list of tool in the same position on this video, there was a little inset video that was from another camera angle. Not perfectly chosen, by the way. I totally get it. All right, so I'm making notes. I got a big old cup of espresso and heavy cream here. I'm gonna take a sip. Okay, so still making notes. So also at the top of the screen of this video, you should see a long blue bar, or actually it's more than two. It's blue bands, okay? And it's supposed to be a timeline, and it's for both videos from this episode. So you'll see there's a gap between the lighter blue on the left and a darker blue on the right, and then there's a little golden bar. Next tool, second tool, first tool, digital caliper. Next tool is digital calculator. Coming up. All right. So I'm using the calculator now to verify. You always want to verify calculation, even if it's just arithmetic. It's just arithmetic. If you're about to drill a hole in something, maybe just check with a calculator, or you recheck from scratch on another part of the paper or something. Just measure twice, cut once, check twice before you drill holes or make cuts or anything like that. If it's something that's not easily replaceable or it's not cheap to discard. All right. So anyway, so these two bars of color at the top, they're separated by the golden line. That's the two halves of the episode. The golden line is right. This video is like part 1 of 1. This is this video. Part 2 of part 1 of 1. Good grief. Part 1 of 2. This video in white text at the very top, and to the right it says part 2 of 2. Okay, that'll be the page, the Patreon, and then the blue bars represent the projects. Okay, so the one on the left, it's adding a magnet to that all white plastic tape reel. I'm holding it right now. It's off camera, mostly off camera. You see the tip of it. Okay, I'm peeling the sticker off of it now. I'm adding a magnet there. The other one, the white, it's still on. It's on screen. It's sitting on the silicone mat under the microscopes. That is it was originally for I think for like paper tape. Medical tape, like first aid tape. Okay. I don't know. When I got it, it was empty. I found it. So I added magnets to it. I added the magnets there in a kind of a sloppy, lazy way because it's where you're putting the magnets, right? Okay. So I'm drilling holes and I'm using hardware to attach a magnet to the white dispenser, the one I'm showing you, the little X marks the spot or the plus sign where I'm going to drill the hole. I'm using hardware there because the magnet is exposed. So if I just try to like hot glue it in or something, it might work for a while, but then the magnet might disengage, or it might eject from the thing, or the glue might give way or something, and then the magnet would fall and the tape would fall and maybe crack the case or whatever. So I want something more durable, more robust method of attaching the magnet. But for the only one on the screen there, jiggle the camera, jiggle the table, workbench. So the white tape reel with the red little sliding thing there, that one, the magnet's inside. I could put it inside without interfering with the tape reel itself. So I just use hot glue. So to save time, there's no point in being super careful about it. But you'll see that does cause me some problems when I try to modify that tape reel. So the pure white tape reel off screen now, I'm holding that magnet. That one needs a magnet. The cutting part's fine. The one I'm telling you about that was used for medical tape, or I don't know what the correct word is for. It's like that you could tear it with your fingers. That one, there's a set of 3 very coarse teeth built into this red sliding thing. The red sliding thing is for cutting that paper tape. But if you use the clear plastic tape, what is it? I'm looking. I'm looking at data sheet here. So, okay. The tape that I use, you'll see a box later. It's 3M Scotch transparent film tape 600. The 600 is like the model number or something. And okay, so what is a tape? The backing, the tape material itself, it's I'm looking at the technical data sheet for that tape. It says it's 3M UPVC film. So UPVC, so PVC, polyvinyl chloride, and the U, I don't know, but basically it's supposed to be UV resistant. All right, and it won't discolor, it won't turn yellow over time or something. So UPVC, all right. And then the adhesive is, they say it's pressure sensitive acrylic adhesive. Acrylic adhesive, I think like Elmer's glue also is acrylic adhesive. Or like if you have a sewing glue or something, I think, like for, anyway, I'm not a seamstress, so I can't say for sure. But I think Elmer's glue is. Is there Elmer's glue around here? Let me look. I have a bottle. Does it say? I'm looking. Elmer's glue all. It doesn't say. Crazy. It's just a non-toxic. I knew you could eat it or something, supposedly. Non-toxic. Don't know. You can look it up. Actually, this one I think is totally dried out. What the heck? All right. I have Elmer's glue sitting near my one of my workstations, but I think I haven't used it in so long it's completely dried out and solidified. That's a bummer. Anyway, so what's happening in the video now? I don't know what I'm doing. There's no hands even. Sorry, really, the filming, I'll cop to being disappointed in myself in the filming. But you have my mellifluous tones, the voiceover here to make up for it. So anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so the blue bars at the top, it's the project type. So the first part it gets done in this video. That's adding the magnet to that one tape dispenser. The second part is adding a cutting edge, a better cutting edge to the other tape dispenser, the white one with the red slidey cover, dust cover thing that also is the cutter, but it's not a good cutter. As I told you, 3/4 teeth. Later you'll see it. And that, there's a lot of fits and starts and a lot of false starts and a lot of dead ends on that part. It was surprisingly difficult because I didn't have, I'll give you a spoiler alert. I started out using the wrong type of thing for the cutting edge. All right. Anyway, so let's see. I have some notes and some things I thought would be interesting maybe to talk about, some things I've been thinking about. Oh, wait. First of all, before I get into notes, what books do I got? So I go to the library area of this place and I fetch a bunch of books and I read them on and off and I switch back and forth between books. Okay. So first, what I'm leaning back. If my voice is, should I speak louder so you can hear better? Oh, wait. Okay. Back to the video before. I'm bringing out some hardware. So it's a process of trying to see what will fit. Okay. So I got to use some kind of a lock nut, right? And see the weird washer? I'm holding it up to you. The washer I'm using, it's kind of it's a tapered washer. So tapered doesn't mean from edge to edge. It means from the central hole to the edge. I'm holding it up on a notepad. I'm trying to make it easier for you to see. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Yeah, okay, you see there? It's not just it's not like an umbrella shape. It's really more like like conical. It's a slightly conical washer. And the reason is because the hole in the magnet is countersunk. It's a countersunk hole. It's intended for the panhead, I think would be the right word, panhead screws. The ones that are tapered heads. Anyway, but I don't want to use large hardware. I want to make small holes and use small hardware. So to make that more practical, I need a way to ensure that a small screw will stay centered in the big old hole in the magnet. That's why I'm using the tapered roughly conical washer. And I'm using M3, 3 millimeter diameter on the on the screw post, I guess, the body of the screw, and 3mm nuts, 3mm washers, and so on and so forth. And I'm faffing around. It takes me a while fiddling around, figure out exactly which hardware, what'll fit, and so on and so forth. All right. So back to the books. The books I got here I've been reading lately. I have Rudy Rucker's autobiography, Nested Scrolls. So Rudy Rucker is a mathematician, computer guy, and science fiction writer, and now painter, and now publisher. And this is autobiography. It's published by Tor. I got the hardcover. The front cover, on the front cover, the dust jacket, the blurb, is by Greg Bear, one of my very most favorite science fiction writers. Since I was a young boy. He passed away a few years ago, but this was obviously before he passed. The cover blurb says, immensely entertaining, spirited, and deep. This is Rudy Rucker at his thoughtful best. I agree. The back has blurbs from Charles Strauss, whose work I have enjoyed, and less so his more recent work than his earlier work. Donald Kingsbury, and Catherine Kramer, and Terry Bisson. Terry Bisson, I believe he's the one who wrote the science fiction story about aliens, undercover aliens on Earth, having a conversation like a diner, where he's talking about people and saying they couldn't believe that people are made of meat, as opposed to maybe plant matter, or made of their artificial machinery, like a robot type thing. Okay, that's one book. I've been reading that. It's really touching. It's touching to read, and also I'm kind of amazed. His memory of his own life is so detailed. He's recounting. I don't know how much preparation he went into it. You know how sometimes certain experiences, even maybe sensation, maybe smells, maybe hearing a song again, or a sound, a noise, can bring back memories flooding back of your remote past, your early life. Maybe he, over a period of years, wrote, as those moments happened, maybe he took note or something, and so he could flush it out. But he is able to recall events from his childhood in incredible detail. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hydrocephalic NPC type. I don't have that much detailed recall. Anyway, another time for a sip here. Wait, finish it off. That was good. All right, so empty cup now. So one of the things okay. So this book, all right, Rudy Rucker, Nested Scrolls. It's the autobiography of Rudolf von Peter Rucker. I've read the whole thing. I don't remember any of it. I read it at some point early, maybe 10 years ago. I've been here for a long time. So, yes, 2011 it's published. I think I got it when it was new. This is not a used book. So it was purchased new. And the reason I know I've read it is because the pages have lots of post-it notes, like the post-it tabs of different colors, mostly blue, some kind of a pale aquamarine. Some of them have notes written on the post-its, and it's my handwriting, I think. Yeah. So I read it all before, but I don't know why it didn't oh, back to the video here. I'm about to drill a hole. So I'm using what they call a pin vise. So the text for the tool, you can see there's tool. Excuse me. In the tools list at the bottom left of the screen, the third one in that kind of a cloud, is pin vise, aka hand drill. All right. But I should have shown already. But I guess, I don't know why I waited to big up that text, to blow that text up until I'm actually drilling the hole. And I've set the pin vise aside. I can't remember what I'm doing at this point. Don't know. Okay, so back to the book. So I read the entire thing, the whole book, the pages if you look at the edge on to the book, edge on, you can see I've got dozens and dozens of these tabs. And some of them have notes handwritten in my text and in my handwriting on them. But I don't remember any of it, okay? But So I'm rereading it. I've gotten past this part already, but I'm just going back to page 1 because there's something here he wrote that's very. I really thought he expressed himself well. He captured something, I think, from my point of view. He captured a feeling or captured an idea. So it's the first page of the biography, okay? In the summer of 2008, a vein burst in my brain, a cerebral hemorrhage. I spent a week at death's door, and then I got better. In normal times, I don't think directly about death. It's like trying to stare at the sun. But that summer, I did think about it. That's a very good metaphor for thinking about death. I think not about death in the abstract, but certainly about one's own death. It's like trying to stare at the sun. That's a good one. And it goes on, skipping ahead a little bit here. I think this was when I finally came to accept that the world would indeed continue after I die. Self-centered as I am, this simple fact had always struck me as paradoxical, but now I understood it right down on my deepest core. The secrets of life and death are commonplace, yet only rarely can we hear them. There are, I remember, as I said, I've been rereading this lately. I've read a decent amount. Oh, okay, pause. So back to commenting on the video here. I'm using a ruler, and I'm trying to measure out straight strips of this. It's like a white, what do they call that? It's cardboard. It's cardstock. It's thick cardstock with white, like a white paper layer, like a kind of a slightly, not matte, like a little bit shiny paper layer attached one. So anyway, forget characterizing the cardstock. The point is, what am I doing? I'm cutting a strip here. Why am I cutting a strip? I'm cutting a strip so I could fold it up, jam it up, and then stick it in the tape reel. Yeah, scissors. Okay, see, I'm using scissors. With serrated blades. So the point is, I'm cutting a strip of this cardstock to put behind the place I'm going to be hand drilling the hole, so that I don't unnecessarily mar or dig into to plastic behind what I'm drilling through. Because when I drill, there's a gap, that's where the magnet's going to go, and then there's the tape reel body. I don't want to gouge that with the drill bit, okay? So that's what I'm doing. I'm cutting cardboard there. See, I'm folding it up, and I'm showing you. I'm jamming it in. That's where the magnet will go. I'm going to stick it there and hold it there with the finger while I drill. Yes. Okay. So, where was I? All right. One more little bit. Sitting on that patio, I'm Rudy Rucker's autobiography again, page 1 again, okay? But I'm jumping around a little bit. Sitting on that patio, and even more so when I came home, I came to understand another natural fact as well. The richest and most interesting parts of my life are the sensations that come in from the outside. As long as I'd been in my hospital bed, the world was dull and gray. I'd been cut off from external input, halfway down the ramp into the underworld. When I made it back to the trees, people, clouds, and water, I was filled with joy of being alive. It was like being born. Yeah, so the whole book, the thing is, Rudy Rucker, he was born in 46, I think, without looking at the book, without checking, without looking at, hurrying up, trying to get to Wikipedia or something. I think he was born in 46, so he's almost 80 years old now. This book was written in 2010, I think, published 2011, so he would have been 70, no, he would have been 60-something, right? Wait a minute, I'm an idiot, let me think. It's 46, all right? Yeah, he would have been like 65. 65 was published in 2011, roughly 65, okay? And he would have had the stroke he's talking about, not stroke, cerebral hemorrhage, okay? All right. Then that would have been 2008, so it would have been 62, okay? So early 60s, he had a cerebral hemorrhage, and he recovered, thank God. And he wrote this book in a few years after that. Since then, he's lost his wife, but he's found a new love. Or he's going on to he's having a second relationship with another person. I subscribe to his blog. I read his Twitter, aka X or whatever. I'm not a biographer, but I kind of keep up with him a little bit, and I see when he posts paintings, and I skim blog posts he writes. I have a lot of, I really respect Rudy Rucker, and I really like him. Politically, he would definitely count as like a leftist, I guess. I am more to the right with some divergence from what people might consider right-wing points of view nowadays. But nowadays meaning January 2026, the year of our Lord 2026. Anyway, I remember now. One thing I was saying about this book, the autobiography, there are some, it wasn't intensively copy edited, I guess. They missed some things. So I see some just straight up typos here or there. Just no big deal. It's an excellent book. I remember, I have a good impression of it, even though I don't remember any details of what I read. I encourage you to read it. Rudy Rucker, Nestor Schools. I got a hardcover. I'm sure you can get it used, or maybe there's still new old stock on Amazon. I have no idea, or your local bookshop. It's a great book. Oh, now commenting on the video again. I'm using a manual countersink to try to countersink that hole a little bit, because the screw I'm using is an M3. Yeah, see, I'm putting in. I'm trying to make it almost flush, but when you're doing this kind of thing, it's plastic. It's not steel, okay? So it's robust plastic. It's not what's that stuff they used to make? Well, it's not cellulose. Damned if I remember. The type of plastic they used to make billiard balls out of in like 1920, and like lampshades and stuff, and burn very easily. It's not that, okay? But it's still plastic, and so I'm trying to be careful. So you have to leave a little bit of meat to hold the screw head, right? Okay. And same thing later when I put it in the magnet, you'll see I go to a little bit of effort to cut a roughly circular piece of silicone sheet, and put that yellow silicone sheet, it's coming up later, and put that in there. The reason I'm doing that is because when you tighten the screw that's holding down the magnet is a rare earth magnet, they crack. If you tighten too much on one of those magnets, it's not a steel magnet, it's not iron. You can crack it. It's like tightening a screw on porcelain, or tightening a screw on glass. So the reason I'm not doing it. The reason later you will see me using the yellow silicone stuff is to give it a little bit of cushion, so that I'm not tightening directly too much, 100% on the magnet and cracking it. All right. So that's one book, Rudy Rucker, Nestor Schools. I've been reading that lately. Another book, The Physics of Immortality by Frank J. Tipler. So Tipler is astrophysicist. He's a cosmologist in I think University of Texas. He's based in Texas. But this book, Tipler is also a Christian. Apologies if I mischaracterize him, but I think he's born again Christian, like a Baptist type, and not a Catholic. But I may be wrong. He may be a Catholic. So okay, disregard that. But it's The Physics of Immortality, and the subtitle is Modern Cosmology, God and the Resurrection of the Dead. Let me think. There's one part here. So I remember there's a very stirring part of the preface. I've read this again. It's almost like rereading. Okay, I think I've read it before, and I'm not a religious scholar, but I've read it before. I couldn't. Again, it's one of those things I don't remember which of I read. This copy, there's no notes in it. I have some bookmarks. I have scraps of paper marking certain pages. I don't know. But okay, I want to read a bit of the preface for you here. I encourage you, this book I also endorse. I encourage you to read this book. Get a copy of this book if you can. If you're looking for something thought-provoking to read, you may not agree with them. You may not come out and say, okay, good. My eternal life in the future is assured, I feel, after reading this book. Maybe not, okay? But anyway, It is quite rare in this day and age to come across a book proclaiming the unification of science and religion. It is unique to find a book asserting, as I shall in the body of this book, that theology is a branch of physics, that physicists can infer by calculation the existence of God and the likelihood of the resurrection of the dead to eternal life in exactly the same way as physicists calculate the properties of the electron. One naturally wonders if I am serious. I am quite serious, but I am as surprised as the reader. When I began my career as a cosmologist, some 20 years ago, I was a convinced atheist. I never in my wildest dreams imagined that one day I would be writing a book purporting to show that the central claims of Judeo-Christian theology are in fact true, that these claims are straightforward deductions of the laws of physics as we now understand them. Sorry, my emphasis there. Should have ended on down there. Because the thing is, the comma. He got me with the comma. You have to use a like an and or some other conjunction, some other joining word. He didn't. I have been forced into these conclusions by the inexorable logic of my own special branch of physics. All right. So that's the first two paragraphs from the preface to Frank J. Tipler's The Physics of Immortality. So I've been reading that. And what else? All right. I got, well, actually I should have introduced this book when I was, okay. Oh, back to the video. See, I got a scrap of the silicone sheet there, and I'm using a small hole punch to make a very small hole, actually smaller than 3 mm, smaller than the diameter of the screw, because the silicone's elastic. If I make a hole, it can stretch out. So I make the little hole first, and you do that if you're punching like a washer out of some material, make the little hole first, so that when you use the big hole punch, you can center the little hole inside in the hole punch, the bigger hole punch hole. Okay. Anyway, so another book. I got 5. I think 5. Yeah, I got 5 books I've been reading. I've been shuffling back and forth. The other book is The Lifebox, The Seashell, and the Soul. What Gnarly Computation Taught Me About Ultimate Reality, the Meaning of Life, and How to Be Happy, by Rudy Rucker. So it's another Rudy Rucker book. So what happened was I began reading this, and then I recalled because the library here is disorganized, very large, somewhat dusty, and not curated. I guess I'm the librarian nowadays. So I remember that when I'm looking for a book, I'll remember. I think I have the book. I think the book is here. I think I've seen it, and then I'll go to find it, and sometimes I'll find it, sometimes I won't find it. So I found, I got this book first, and then I was like, I bought Rudy Rucker's biography. It's somewhere here, and I thought I had, and I dug and dug and dug. I looked around, and looked back and forth across the same shelves again and again. Eventually I found it. So actually this was the book that led me to go dig out Rucker's biography. Okay, so this one, published 2005, 2006. Yeah. First cloth printing 2005, first paperback 2006. I got the paperback. This one is a paperback that I found here. So this would have been 2 years before his stroke, all right? So it's interesting because you should read the book, all right? I can't try to summarize the book because I've read it and then forgotten all of it. But the Lifebox is something that's kind of coming back to the fore. It's perhaps more interesting now. And the idea is that you'd have a kind of a chatbot computer program that would live in some kind of device, embodied device, and you'd maybe he doesn't say this, but you can imagine wearing something around your neck or something, or you can imagine something. Nowadays we have the Bluetooth headphones, the in-ear headphones. You can imagine something in one of those with a microphone on the outside. It used to be those things were big with like a little fold-down mouthpiece microphone and so on, but now they're small. You can imagine something like that, and the idea would be the Lifebox software would ask you questions about your life, or just questions about your personality, your likes, your dislikes, what you had for breakfast that morning, and so on and so forth, and it would record that. He has it as like a dialogue, but you can also imagine something with cameras and sensors, like a Gordon, like if you ever heard of Gordon Bell, I think he was a DEC, NEC guy. He's one of the pioneers, and he's a very important guy in the history of modern computing. Okay, maybe he's not like Kurt Gödel, or the any other Hungarian people, not that level, but he's for non-Hungarian people after that generation. He's a pretty important guy, and he was working on, when he was at Microsoft towards the end of his career, he had a big push on life logging, and Microsoft came out with something called the SenseCam. It was a little black, roughly square thing you wore on a lanyard around your neck. Is how it was intended to be used, and it had a camera and it had a light sensor with a Fresnel lens. I think I've heard people pronounce it Fresnel, Fresnel, but it's the same. It had a lens over like a light sensor, but the point was it would the lens. What I mean is, like, if you ever see like a security camera or like a motion sensor that uses infrared light, it'll have one of these weird lenses. It looks like a honeycomb on the inside edge of the lens. You can see it from the outside, the pattern. Anyway, so it was a square black box. It had a light sensor with a Fresnel lens in front of it, and then it had a camera lens sticking out a little bit, and it came with a black plastic cap, like a very plain cap you stick on the lens if you don't use it. And you would wear it, and it would take pictures every so often, still images, low quality still images. And so Gordon Bell was working on that. But back to Rudy Rucker. So he's talking about the Lifebox, some kind of a physical device with software that would ask you questions, and you could talk to it, and it would build up a record of your answers, and somehow it would be like it could model your personality from that, model your personality, your memories. And then in that way, you would have some kind of a sort of a digital immortality from that. But it would not in itself be an AI or anything like that. So at the time when Rucker posited that development, they had like the chatbots were not the way they are now. It was before LLMs really took off. So I've read Rucker's actually written articles talking about the Lifebox again in the context of LLMs. And it's interesting, and I encourage you to seek it out. But so I'm rereading the Lifebox, the Seashell, and the Soul. I've got a paperback copy here. All right, and then what else? We got. I got Collected Stories of Raymond Chandler. It's the Everyman's Library edition. It's a hardcover. It's all of Chandler's short fiction in one volume for the first time, and probably the last time. I don't know why publishers hate to give you, even when people have passed away for a long time. They hate to give you what I want the most, which is all of their novels or all of their short fiction in one volume. Right? And the pages are like onion skin. They're very thin. It's like international airmail paper from the 1960s, but it's very readable. So I've read 2 stories from this book. I've just picked at random. So what have I gotten? I just finished. Okay, so I read The Lady in the Lake, and then I read next one, Pearls Are a Nuisance. They have different protagonists. They're like say film noir, but film noir for films, right? So it's not film noir. It's like Humphrey Bogart type crime fiction, hard-boiled detective type thing, private detective from the 1930s and 40s. Excellent. Like, I'm a science fiction guy. I usually like to read science fiction. I want to read, especially when I was younger, I want to read about aliens and interstellar travel and hard science fiction of different biochemistries of aliens. The oceans would be like a eutectic mix of ammonia and water at below water freezing point, and so on and so forth. I love that stuff. Okay, but I still can appreciate other genres, and I really admire Raymond Chandler. It's really good stuff. Okay, so I picked this. I bought this. I've added it to the library here, but I purchased it. I got it used because I'm cheap, and it's Everyman's Library. I complain about this. Everyman's Library, all of the spines are practically identical. Okay. They use no matter how wide the book is, they use the same font size. So the author name is written in text the size of my pinky nail, and it's like in a kind of a bronze color, the pigment used, the ink used, whatever. It's like a kind of a bronze color, or like copper color, against black. It's very hard to read. And then the title of the whatever volume, so the author is in like italics serif font, scrolly font, in this tiny font size, in the color that not much contrast with the black on this section. And then the title is in the sans serif font, but it's, I don't know the word for it. It's like squished. It's condensed. So like the letter sizes, the glyphs, the letters from left to right are very narrow, and they're much larger proportionally from top to bottom. Okay, so it's like somebody squeezed them, they pinched them. So it's hard to read trying not to curse, the gosh darn titles. And so the spines have identical design. The only thing different is the author name and the title of the book. So you can have these things, and you have Orwell's Collected Essays by Everyman's Library. I'm giving that as an example because I got that recently. The thing, you put them on the shelf, you can't tell them apart. It's a real, it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, okay, the last book I've got in my stack, and this one I haven't been rereading so much as opening it and being like, wow, that's why I didn't read that before. Also, another one I got on my own dime, okay? It is Danielle, Chronicles of a Superheroine by Ray Kurzweil, and illustrated by his daughter, Amy Kurzweil. And this book, I got it because I had read his book he wrote with a medical doctor, a longevity guy, called Transcend, I think. It's somewhere in the library here, dusty shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf somewhere. I've read it, and it's why I take certain vitamins. I'm not, the things he outlined, the procedures he was getting, the treatments he was getting, and the diagnostics he was getting. It's not practical for me. It's not feasible. Okay. But some things, I think, he recommended vitamin D, D3 and K2. That's super easy. And hey, if you're listening to this, I recommend you consider, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, but if I were you, I would take a serious look at, starting on vitamin D3 and K2. You have to take the K2 to make sure that the calcium that you are more likely to absorb from your meals, thanks to the D3, to make sure that the calcium doesn't get deposited, say, I think in like the arteries or veins in your neck, and cause you to have trouble. You don't want to have a heart attack, or a stroke or something. So the K2 helps make sure that it goes into more likely to go in your bones or teeth or something. That's what I understand it without doing too much of a deep dive. But I'll tell you what I did notice was that when I began supplementing with D3 and K2, I never got sick. I'm not taking heroic doses. I'm taking a couple of thousand IU a day. And if you've been watching the news lately, there's been a lot of talk about the official recommended amounts for your daily intake of D3 are woefully miscalculated. There should be much higher. Okay? So I'm seeing non-crazy people, they're not the people who are trying to live forever type people, just normal medical people saying, actually, most people should be supplementing if you live in the northern, if you don't live near the equator, very near the equator, the people would say you should be supplementing with D3 and something like 5,000 IU a day, or maybe 8,000 IU a day. I'm not taking that much. I'm taking, I think, like 2,000 IU a day and K2 with it, and some other supplements like magnesium, and there's different forms of magnesium. I would recommend you take one they say it's more bioavailable. So like magnesium oxide, I think that's the cheapest, crappiest one. That may be good for if you have like muscle cramps in your legs or something, but it won't, the other benefits, you won't be getting it. So anyway, you should do an investigation. But so the point is, a book that he had written with a co-author, was a doctor, and talking about his own efforts to extend his life and things like that. I've read that, but I read that book. I haven't read the Singularity books. The Singularity is Near, and then more recently, the Singularity is Nearer. I haven't read those. I get the gist of it. Okay. I don't really, you don't have to convince me that there's a potential for something like that. It doesn't, the idea of the singularity, it doesn't really fill me with joy, contemplating it. You'd say I'm a skeptic. Okay. But anyway, so I'd read that. I read the Transcend book about trying to live forever. Okay. And the idea wasn't that he was just going to biologically live forever. The idea was, from that book, was that he was trying to basically buy time. He's trying to keep himself alive long enough for some more technological, non-biological way of extending life. I mean, like, uploading your consciousness, something like that, scanning your brain, being uploaded to a computer and becoming an AI god in a simulated universe or something like that. Or maybe an embodied consciousness in like a robot body. Something like that. So the idea was just to give yourself more runway, is what he's talking about. Anyway, so when this book came out at the time, I think 2018, 2019, I was like, this looks interesting. It's like the cover of a young lady pulling wheel suitcases, and she's wearing like a yellow dress, purple flowers on it, and the font's all weird. It looked interesting. So I got it, and then I looked into it. I was like, oh boy, this is weird. The way it's written, the authorial voice it's not what I had expected. It's very strange. Then I found out that they said that it was published simultaneously the 2 other books. So the book I've got is Danielle, Chronicles of a Superheroine. And then they said it was 2 nonfiction companion books, How You Can Be a Danielle, and then A Chronicle of Ideas, a guide for superheroines and superheroes. So, the back of this book, the book I've got, the back of this book has the How You Can Be a Danielle. Okay? But then A Chronicle of Ideas, blah, 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 it says that one is a physically separate book. I don't have that. And then I was curious. I was interested. So then I looked to see how could one get that other book. They won't, so Amazon won't ship it here. And I could get it shipped to a reshipping address somewhere and have it reshipped to the very remote part of the world in which I live and work. But I don't know. Is it worth it? It would be not cheap, and the reshipping would add substantially to the cost. And when I try to read this book, it's kind of like it's very freaky. Okay, so I don't know if you're noticing a trend here, except for the hard-boiled, pot-boiled mystery, the Raymond Chandler book. Except for the Raymond Chandler book, to some extent or another, they all have kind of like a common theme. They're technology, immortality, life extension, or mortality, and things like that. I guess part of it is, very recently, by the way, I don't like to talk about current events much, because my point of view may not align with yours, and that's fine. And I don't see any reason to, and also, I'm not sure that my interpretation of events is very useful to even myself. And I'm not confident about that. Speaking of that, okay, how to explain it? Let's see if I can find this thing. So, there is a book, a children's book. I don't think it's here anymore. I think it's gone. Somebody took it with them, and when they left, it's gone. But it was called Zen Shorts. See if I can find it. Okay. So, Zen Shorts was written by, okay, I'm looking at the Wikipedia for it now. It's a picture book, published in 2005 by John J. Muth. It was here. It's gone now. I looked, I couldn't find it. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe it is somewhere. It's a large library, not curated so much, and most people don't use it, but I'm not good at putting things back where I got them from. So it could be my fault. But anyway, so there's 3 stories. Uncle Rye and the Moon, The Farmer's Luck, and A Heavy Load. So I'm looking at Wikipedia now to remind myself. The narrator is a panda named Stillwater. But the stories themselves are not about Stillwater. if I remember right. Anyway, I've skimmed it. Okay, the one story that made a dent in my brain is actually they say Zen Shorts, but this story is not Zen. It's a Taoist story. Taoist, Taoist. The Tao, Tao is pronounced like a D, Tao. Anyway, the farmer's luck. The point is it's set in ancient China, and there's like a farmer, and he has a neighbor, and things happen in the farmer's life, and his neighbor's like, oh, if the thing happened appears to have been good, the farmer's neighbor will say, wow, that was great, you're so lucky. And the farmer will reply something like, maybe, we'll see, who knows. And then, because of whatever had happened previously, the good thing that happened, say, it has some negative related development, and then the neighbor's like, oh, you're so misfortunate, a terrible thing happened, and the farmer will just be like, well, maybe, we don't know, we'll see, maybe yes, maybe no, something like that. Oh, man. So I can't remember exact detail of everything. I think it was something like something about some wild horses, and the guy was, you got some free wild horses. The farmer's neighbor's like, wow, you're lucky to get these wild horses, something like that. And he's like, maybe yes, maybe is lucky. And then I think the farmer's son is trying to tame one of the horses, and he gets thrown and like breaks his leg. And, broken leg in ancient times, it's worse than now, I think even. You may end up partially lame or something. So the farmer's neighbor's like, oh, how unfortunate that your son has been injured. And the farmer is like, yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, I guess. And then the next thing that happens is there's some kind of a war or something going on beginning, and the kingdom in which they live is calling up, taking young people to serve in the military. And because this man's son's leg is injured, he is exempted. He's not called up for service. He's not drafted. He's not conscripted and taken away to fight and get killed and stuff. And then the farmer's neighbor's like, oh, you're so fortunate. And the farmer's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember how it ends, but you get the kind of the gist, right? So the point is, at any point in time, to try to discern whether something is good or bad in its totality, like the follow-on, the knock-on effects, the ripples it sends out into the universe, it's difficult. People don't think in terms of like a flow chart of all the possible permutations of everything. I don't. I'm not I'm not a mentat from Frank Herbert's Dune here. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm a fallible, dumb human made of meat, and mortal like everybody else, okay? I'm not omniscient, right? But I'm just saying that it's hard to discern, right? So I don't get into my personal views about current events because I'm very mindful of the fact that my interpretation may be not only wrong, but wildly wrong, even in the current moment. And then later, it may, even if it seems right now or seems to have some validity and to be, if I would claim it could be insightful, later it may turn out I was totally wrong. And there may be some unforeseeable to me consequence of whatever's going on that's good or bad. If I said, oh, this is a good thing, this is an excellent thing that's happened, or something, maybe it turned out later it was wrong. It turned out to have terrible consequences, or something that happens because of that outweighs it. Anyway, out of my head here. But, so I think earlier this month, the cartoonist and thinker behind the Dilbert comics, Scott Adams, he passed away. He passed away from prostate cancer, which is generally one of the more my impression, I'm not an oncologist, but my impression is that it's one of the more manageable types of cancer that one can get. But it's, anyway, it could be related to his stance on the, some would say, to suddenly have a very aggressive type of prostate cancer and to have it carry off in less than a year is unusual, especially for someone with access to good quality medical care and diagnostics and treatment options. Anyway, so he passed away recently. God bless him. I think he had a deathbed conversion, but some people are saying a deathbed conversion was just to assuage the sadness of his Christian fans who were troubled by his passing. I don't know. Anyway, but so he passed away, and it's just a reminder. He was only 60-something, which is now practically a teenager. Oh, so maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why I've been rereading the books about immortality and about life extension, about Rudy Rucker's Lifebox. Anyway, so now you can see in the video, back to the video, I'm starting out on the adding the jaw. And I already opened the little red thing. You see even now, you can see on the screen, you see the outlines of the little teeth in the red part. So I found when I was digging around through, see that? I'm holding a toothed strip. But I'm going to let you in on a secret. That is not good for cutting the tape. The UPVC, acrylic adhesive 3M tape is not useful for that. All right. Now I'm pointing out the teeth with a pencil, but why am I holding the pencil like that? I don't know. Mechanical pencil, but you can't really. The way I don't know. I'm showing. I was showing you that dimple. So the red thing. See, yeah, I'm showing you the red thing kind of locks in place. There are slight bumps. There are protrusions on the inside lateral parts of the red sliding thing, and they fit into little dimples in the white casing. So it locks in place. So it's useful because it keeps dust and hair and shavings and metal jewel, we call it scarf or whatever. It keeps that off of the tape. So you can have tape and it won't get dusty tape or it won't get anything on it. Okay. That's nice. But the teeth are useless. So this whole thing is about trying to add teeth. So I'm going to have that long strip. I guess it's similar to what would be on, say, you have like a roll of plastic wrap, cling film or something in a cardboard box and then you pull some out and then you tear it against the edge. I think it's that. I have no idea where it came from. It's a bunch of things like that. So my idea was to try to cut that strip and then the piece of that strip, try to fasten it to the outside of the white reel with the red slidey thing and then use that to cut the tape because the built-in plastic teeth are not doing it. Okay. And it doesn't work out. In the end, I do solve it. Okay. But in this video and the sequel, the second half of this video, I don't do such a hot job with the metal strip. And in the end, there's going to be another video. I got like another hour of noodling away on it, and I do get a solution, and it worked great. And but you'll see me try and fail and flail and back and forth, and you may have seen some interesting stuff. There's some interesting, maybe new to you tools that I do end up using in this video, in the second half of this video. It's on Patreon or wherever. At this point, it's on Patreon. Maybe in the future, there's other sites I'll be putting it on, but for right now, it's Patreon. Anyway, sorry, I burped. There's some interesting videos, interesting tools rather. It still makes it worth watching. You can see how I fail, and you see how I try to recover from it, and eventually I do solve it. I got that reel. I'm using that reel day to day. It's great. It worked out perfectly. But this is some false starts here, some dead ends. So also some more words about the tool list here and the yellow text in the lower left corner. These are not endorsements. Obviously, at the time I'm recording this right now, this is the 4th bleep bleep bloop bloop video. I have 0 subscribers and like single digit views. Maybe at some point in the future it'll blow up and I'll get some views. I have not even 1 subscriber. Okay, so I'm not partnered with anybody. Nobody's paying me. I'm not getting free tools or anything like that. By the way, I may be open to something like that. So Knipex and Vera and other tool manufacturers hit me up. Maybe Mitutoyo for metrology stuff. Hit me up. And electronics people, no problem. Verith and people make components. People make tools. Come at me, okay? But I'm just saying that it's not endorsement. I'm not saying in this video for sure. I'm not saying that these tools are the most appropriate tools to use, the best tools or anything. Not at all, okay? I'm just showing you what I'm using because in the past I've seen photos and videos of people working on things, and I've seen a tool and I've wondered what it was, but the creator, the person showing it, they maybe not tell you what they're using, and they don't explain, and I have trouble figuring it out. Even nowadays, you can take a screen capture, or you can take part of an image and you can run it through a search engine nowadays, and you can try to get back to what it is. You have a shot, okay? It's better than it used to be, right? But still, there's no guarantee. So I'm telling you when I can, like the model numbers even, because you may want it. I'm not telling you to go out. I'm not saying you should go get it. You can see how slapdash a job I do in these little projects I'm showing you here. That I'm no expert. I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm not a machinist at all. I'm an engineer by training, but different type of engineering field. Not electrical either. Not electrical engineering and not mechanical engineering, okay? But I'm just showing you what I'm using in case you may want to know. Like, for instance, there's the weird little deburring tool. It was a Noga thing. You slide. They come in different sizes. That's the smallest one. And it has a deburring blade that's on a hinge. Or on a, not maybe a hinge. It's on it's on an axle. So you can make it, you can flatten it enough to get this tool through a blind hole, and then you can press the press button on the end and make the blade perpendicular to the axis of the tool, and then you can scrape. You can deburr the inside of the hole, which is quite useful. So I didn't always know about that tool, and maybe it'll be useful to you. That's why I'm giving you the tool list, and also for try to add a little bit of visual interest to the video, because I know when I recorded this video, I don't know how I managed to do it. I set up the camera, I set up everything, both cameras, because I have the other little camera. By the way, that little, okay, focus here. I set up all the cameras and set up everything, and then most of the work I managed to do it off camera. I don't know how. I apologize. I'll try to do better. Okay, in the next video, episode 5. But for episode 4, it's kind of funny. It makes me laugh. All right, I'm laughing. You can hear, maybe in my voice, you can hear the levity here. But I do feel bad about it. So I'm trying to add a little bit of visual interest, and also so I'm not promising that every video will have like a little word cloud like that, showing all the tools I'm using with the model numbers and things like that. And it's not even executed perfectly in this episode. You can see, because sometimes I use the tool before I expand the name of the tool and maybe the model number. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's interesting, and I think it adds a little bit to this video. I'm trying to make up for a lot of action happening off screen. Okay. Wait a minute, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna take a sip. Do I have any drink? Yeah. Wait a minute. Getting parched. All right. I'm getting a terrible case of dry mouth there for a second. So what have I got? I have my notes also. Blah, 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 blah. So we're getting close to the end of this episode. I think the last few minutes. Yeah. The funny thing is about the camera angles, I thought about saying that it was intentional. I did it as kind of like a gag. But that seemed... oh, wait. I think we're getting to the end here. Okay. See you over on the Patreon. Good luck. Good luck to you. Thank you for watching.